Hello everyone. Today the presentation will be covering optical media by Frederick Kittler. To start off, I'd like to introduce Frederick Kittler. He's on the left-hand side. And no, it is not Hitler, like on the right-hand side, Mr. Hitler there. Mr. Kittler was born June 12, 1943, died October 18, 2011. He was influential in media theory, and like military and war issues. Kittler looked at not just his own work, but also McLuhan and Shannon on their views of media and the medium. McLuhan was influential to Kittler because media and the message was not just a body organ that grew off him, while Shannon was a mathematical theory. Kittler agreed with McLuhan as well as Shannon. McLuhan and Kittler had a hate-love relationship. They were on the same page sometimes and not all the time. Kittler agreed with McLuhan with technology, but he did not agree with him on how it was an organ growing off of our body. Instead, Kittler thought it was technology running us. It was showing us how to do things in life and around. For example, on that issue, I have here a stoplight. Like I said, Kittler believed that technology ran us. So I used a stoplight to show that the stoplight ran us when we drive, because when the light is green, it tells us to go, whereas it's red, it tells us to stop, showing us that we have to follow the technology. Now here's an example from McLuhan and Kittler on the issue of how technology is not part of your body, but it also runs you. We can put that remote down and leave it and go do something else, but then come back to it and it still runs us, because it kind of influences on us, our issues on what to do in everyday life. Kittler kind of touched on the issue how technology is part of your senses and it magnifies your senses. So such as your eyesight here, I have a surveillance camera and a regular camera. The surveillance camera will magnify the surveillance that is being happening around an area, whereas the regular camera will also increase the dimensions of a picture. Another part that I've seen in the reading I thought maybe was kind of interesting, how he mentioned film as naturally a novel, while novel is a transcript. You can find that on page 31. It's a growing form of one media to another, not just something that grows to us. So I can kind of see this, how it can relate to the timeline of technology growing and increasing. History of technology in the body. We know nothing about our senses until media provides us with information. And this is what Kittler kind of tells us, that technology is running us because it is informing our senses. It's telling us what is going to happen, what's happening. Plato on the wax slate, for example, was given an invention of the soul and how that incorporates the sense. Here's the second concern he talked about in Kittler's reading, and that was the modern warfare. I really wasn't sure, and not many of us were either. And Dr. Kalamati touched on this and how modern warfare increases its demand of technology, how to run things and incorporate our senses, and increasing those two dimensions. Here this slide touches on the 24 individual pictures of a horse, and it touches on our senses and how things work and how sometimes there might be illusions. Here the horse touches the ground only, except for one time it's completely off the ground, and no one knew this until he's seen this slide and how it was an illusion, or how the horse never left the ground. Again, media is more than we believe. Media is almost also an illusion. Technology has been growing and growing and developed more than simple television shows or cell phone. It's been part of us, but not something that's growing off of us. It's something that's incorporating our senses to be enhanced and more developed. What was Kittler talking about through this whole passage? I'm not really sure. All I can understand is that he kind of was on the same page with McLuhan. He wasn't on the same page with McLuhan, but he also liked Shannon and how he connected with the mathematical connection and communication, and that next will be answered by him. To answer my question, Shannon was the one to answer Kittler's overall question on how technology runs us. It was kind of like a mathematical question. It was how to deliver. There's a deliver, there's a responder, and then there's a message. All these I have to incorporate together to have a complete message or media or technology to be developed. To understand Shannon's mathematical question, we have to start out with the source. The source is the one who develops the message, who's going to be possibly delivering the message. The source is the beginning of the mathematical question. Without the source, there will be no message. There will be no delivery of the message. The next step is delivery. Delivery is the one that is kind of important as well as the source. Delivery was it delivered correctly? Was it delivered in the right fashion? Was it mumbled up? Will they understand it? Delivery is like getting delivery on the package. You have to have it correctly. Now the message. The message is the last step of the mathematical question. It's the ultimate one. You can receive a message. You can interact with a message. You can give back a message. But it's the last step. It's, I believe, the most important, because without the message, who knows what's going to happen. And I think that's what Kittler was trying to get to, was the message. 5 points is ultimately a cycle, not a one-way street. It starts out with the prime information of the source. It moves into the sender and how it will get there. A channel will be the next and third point. For example, it could be a book. Next is a receiver. And lastly, the data sink is us for the point, the 5 points. So storage is something that wasn't really talked about a lot. It was mentioned at the end of the reading. But I believe that storage is important, because if we don't remember stuff or store it in our heads, how are we supposed to do it next time? And how are we supposed to run technology or have technology run us if we're not able to store it and comprehend things the correct way? This concludes my presentation. I hope everybody understood a little bit better. I'm Makulan, Kittler, and Shannon on everything and how technology